Hello everyone, it's Luli, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Otome games that have triangle relationships. So I'll be primarily talking about 3 games that are in the Triangle project. This is basically a series of 3 Otome games that have, at the end a triangle relationship type situation. And this may include, like bittersweet kind of jealousy, or it might just be that they all end up happy together, the different scenarios. But yeah, I'll be going through the 3 games that are part of this, as well as add a little bit of like honorable mentions at the end. But anyway, let me start. So the first one I'll be talking about is Katakoi Contrast. Now this game is set in high school. It's about this main character who doesn't really like sort of interacting with other people for various reasons, so she often stays on her own. She however ends up going to school a little earlier than usual, which results in ending up meeting a couple of characters. The very first episode is an interaction and love between her and then 2 guys, her childhood friends. The second episode is her with a younger guy, so a kohai, and a senpai, so someone who's younger, someone who's older than her. And then the third episode is about the transfer student and the teacher. And I played episode 1 and oh my gosh, it was so bittersweet. I absolutely adored it. But I think the thing that was interesting about Katakoi Contrast for me, at least for episode 1, is that the triangle relationship at the end was very much like them kind of sort of fighting over her, more so than them kind of just being happy together. So that's the kind of triangle relationship I absolutely adore. So it was very much a satisfying game for me. Not to mention basically the structure of this is that you go through love interest A, which leads to heartbreak, and then you end up hanging out with love interest B, who is almost like a rebound from the heartbreak from the previous guy, and at the end you end up going down one guy or the other. And yeah, it was just, the music is great, it was so bittersweet. And once you, at least for episode 1, once you complete a route, it unlocks basically a bunch of like point of view stories from the other, like the love interest. So instead of just reading it how you did from the main character's perspective, you'd end up reading it from the main character's perspective, but also from the perspective of the love interest. And it hurts because you feel so bad when you don't choose one of them, but it's just perfect. I couldn't fault it. Second up is Tlicolity Eyes, or Tlicolity Eyes. It's a bit easier in Japanese, I would say. But this is about 3 different main characters, actually. The youngest, the middle child, and the eldest child. And in each one, again, you've got different love interests. The youngest child is an actress, and she ends up in this relationship between either the manager or the actor. The middle child ends up being ending up amongst the colleague cameraman, she's a cameraman too, and a model. And the eldest is actually a manager, and the 2 guys that end up liking her are 2 idol boys, and well, I'll go into it in a moment. But the thing about this game is basically it's about these 3 girls that have this ability to enhance these skills or talents of someone. But when they do that, it ends up them kind of falling in love or feeling infatuated towards the main character, like to use. So often there'll be a scene where they want to power up one of these guys and they do it, but then the side effects end up them like confessing their loves, showing all their affection. And it's one of those games that are like kind of, you can mindlessly read it, and it's very like sweet, sickly sweet almost. More on the comedic side than the dark side, I would say. So I didn't feel any not necessarily bittersweet stuff. And yeah, it was a fun game. I think it wasn't my favorite, but if you like idols, if you like actors, if you like models, that sort of thing, then I would highly recommend it. The love triangle in this game was very much, it wasn't really them fighting over you, it kind of was, but the main character didn't really choose in the end. It was very they both like you, the main character's kind of like, oh, I don't know, and it ends there, as opposed to it turning into anything further than that. So of course she had the choices of ending up with person A or person B, but there was a, you know, triangle relationship ending. In that one, the main character can't choose, and then they're fighting over her, and that, if I remember correctly, that's the sort of ending it was. And personally, for me, it's not quite satisfying because, I don't know, I prefer it when the main character chooses in the end. It feels much more bittersweet, and I don't know, it could just be me. But the reason why I showed a little bit more interest in the manager with the two idols is that I think that route had the most jealousy, because she's with, you know, she's a manager of you know, idol A, and, you know, he seems to have a little bit of an affection towards the manager, and you're already like, oh, it's kind of cute because he's younger and all this. But then she ends up starting managing his, I think brother, maybe, I can't remember, and he gets a little bit jealous whenever she's managing him, and and yeah, you can probably tell that I like jealousy, so that was a delicious situation that I got to enjoy. But game number 3 is Jakou no Laila. Now this is a very sensual, sexy Otome games. As you can tell, all 3 of them are very, very different. But Jakou no Laila is about the main character who is a spy, and she gains information from people by seducing them. So she seduces them, they give her information because, you know, they're drunk and seduced and all of this, and then she brings that back, and that's kind of her job, if that makes sense. So it's a very sensual game. Now again, there are 3 episodes. The main character doesn't change, it's the same, it's a bit like Katakoi Contrast. But in the first one, it's called European Night. It's about the king of this, I don't know, it looks like a European country who is doing well versus what used to be, and I guess still is, a prince of this country that King A kind of took over. And they're both very distinct characters because the king of the, you know, country is very like strong, masculine, determined, confident, all this, whereas the prince is quite feminine. He's really feminine, and they both come from extremely different backgrounds. Now the second episode is called Asian Nights. It's about a sort of, I don't know if it's a prince or a king, I can't remember, or an emperor. But basically, I think, yeah, they're brothers. One is older, one's younger, one is, you know, about to take the throne, if you can call it that, and the other's younger. Again, they're very distinct. I prefer the young one. He was like a big puppy, but it's fun seeing the dynamic, especially in the older, in the common route, the older brother and the younger, like their interaction's quite amusing because the older brother's a bit weird. Now the third episode is Arabian Nights, and the 2 love interests is the king of the Arabian country that the main character lives in, as well as the other love interest being the main character's colleague type of person. He's younger and a bit of a tun, and I personally thought it was very obvious that he liked her right from the beginning and doesn't like what she's doing and stuff. So, but yeah, those are the 3 episodes in this one. The kind of triangle relationship in this one was quite interesting, actually, because it isn't really fighting over the main character. It's a really sensual, they all end up together in a poly relationship. That's the kind of triangle that it was. So for any of you who like poly relationships, or that's what you tend to go towards, then this game is kind of perfect because, yeah, it's literally they all are having fun, 3 of them. Great, it's that kind of ending. And yeah, so as you can tell, all 3 of these games, Katakoi, Tlicolity Eyes, and Jakou no Laila, they're all quite distinct as well as the triangle relationships. They couldn't be more further apart. The art style is different, the theme is different, the triangle relationship's different, and oh, they were all fun in their own way. If I were to rank it, I'd probably put, oh, I can't really, because I like Jakou no Laila and Katakoi Contrast probably to a similar level, just in different ways, and then Tlicolity Eyes is probably not as enjoyable. However, that could be just because I'm not too into like the idol actor, like the famous world type genre, so that could be why. So if you're interested in idols, actors, models, like that sort of thing, and like lots of happiness, comedy, then you'd probably like Tlicolity Eyes. If you like high school and bittersweet settings, you'd probably like Katakoi Contrast. If you like the sensual fantasy type, you know, game, then you probably like Jakou no Lyla. But that's kind of that's the 3 games in Triangle Project. Now, a couple of honorable mentions I can think of from the top of my mind. One that definitely speaks out to me when I think of triangle relationship is Tokimeki Memorial Girls Side Story Tokimeki Memorial Girls Side Third Story. There we go. Now this is a game that has lots and lots and lots of gameplay. However, there is an English patch, so if you have the DS version, you can download that and then read it in English, unlike the other 3 which are unlocalized. So that's something you can enjoy. But it's a stat raising game. But if you increase your affections with 2 boys at once, like a triangle relationship event happens where you walk home with 2 boys and they kind of like basically compete over you, and it's I love it so much. I don't know what it is. I feel sorry for the guys, but at the same time it's just so much fun that I don't know, I love it so much. So yeah, highly recommend that. Another one that I can think of is Brothers Conflict. This one doesn't necessarily have like a triangle relationship like full on like that. However, because you're dating lots of different stepbrothers, sometimes, so in Brothers Conflict there's this thing called like a sleepover where the main character's, oh, I'm so scared, I can't sleep tonight, can I sleep in your room? Sounds very innocent, God knows what's going on in that room, but hey, but that happens. And sometimes if you level up the affections of a couple of characters, like certain characters, at a certain level, one of them appears and either teases you or feels jealous, or like there are these kind of rivalry events, if you can call it that. So I haven't kind of done it yet because I don't know, I haven't really like kind of looked into it. I've just been trying to get through the characters, but that if you look into it and pick the right options and level up your characters, because FYI it is a stat raiser, then you may see these events which could be interesting, and I definitely will consider doing it at some point. But anyway, that kind of ends my Otome games with triangle relationships video. Hopefully you found one of these games of interest and are now looking into whether to buy it or not, because as you can tell, I was very excited about all of these. As is always the case, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and hopefully I will see you in another one of my videos or streams. Bye!